Namaste, welcome back to the online yoga community. Today I'd like you to introduce you to Marion. Marion is our veggie growing expert, and she is going to give us advice and tips on how to grow our own veggies and take that food to the recipes that we cook together to our plates. It's going to be a great journey. I'm looking forward to it. So welcome, Marion.
Welcome to you to my plot.
Thank you very much.
Obviously I'm Marion, and I've had my plot for now almost 25 years. In the beginning the weeds were up to here, and over time you can see that I've got rid of most of them. During that 25 years I've found vegetables that I can grow and vegetables that I can't grow. And I think for anybody who's starting out on this journey, you will also find the same thing.
Great, yes, absolutely. So what we're going to show you is Marion's going to talk us through some of the things that she's got on the plot. Yes, it's the middle of November and it's winter, but there's still things going on the plot. And don't worry if you don't have an allotment plot. There's going to be plenty of tips and advice from Marion on how to grow veggies in a much smaller space, including a dustbin. Can you believe it? We're going to grow fresh veggies from a dustbin. We'll come back to you soon.
Right, this is my plot, as you can see. It's now November. We've had a really strange year this year. It's been so warm, so everything's still growing, which is lovely because it means that I can still pick. But this time of the year, really, you're preparing the ground for next year. So I look at where I've grown things this year, and certain things like onions, I don't grow in manured ground because they don't like it. But the rest of the plot I cover with about 6 inches or more, about that much, of horse manure, which we get from the local stables, which is great. The soil is very sandy. I also have another plot in a different place which the soil is clay, so this needs a lot more manure than my other plot, and I grow different things in different places. So last year this was my potato plot, and this year, because I always rotate my vegetables, and that's quite an important thing to do, you get rogue potatoes coming up. So here I had runner beans and tomato plants, I had beetroot and some winter squashes which had now gone and picked, but as you can see down here, I've got a rogue potato, so of course that will be my potatoes for tomorrow night's meal. Coming back to the soil and rotating vegetables, I do that religiously. When I finish my year, I actually write down, I've got a journal which shows me going back I don't know, 10, 15, probably 20 years of what I've grown where and what results I get, because it's very important that you actually document whether things do well in a certain place or not.
Okay, Marion, so looks like we've still got lots going on here. Can you tell us what we've got here, what we've got growing, and when you plant this for it to be ready?
One of the joys about growing things on an allotment is that life is full of surprises, because I grew what this is, which is New Zealand spinach, and as you can see it's very different. It grows like a vine, and you just keep on picking and eating as long as the plant lasts until the first frost. This I planted over there last year, and suddenly this appears this year, so I've got this amazing growth of New Zealand spinach.
So you didn't actually plant this on this area?
No.
Oh, right. Wow.
It self seeds along the base of, if I can find it, of one of these, at the leaf joint there's a flower. It's a yellow flower in the spring or even in the summer, and then that turns into the seeds that self-sow.
Okay, and we all know how great spinach is for us. May I taste some?
Absolutely.
Please, thank you.
Absolutely.
Just off of the plant, still with the water on as well. Doesn't get any better or fresher than that. That's delicious. Thank you.
That's okay. Here is my winter growing stuff, and I've got spinach or chard. This is yellow chard. which eat the stems in stir fries, and the leaves obviously are spinach. Absolutely delicious. You can eat it raw. Then over here I've got my kale, and then purple sprouting broccoli for next February, March time. And then in the corner there, which you can't quite see, but there are Brussels sprouts. I grow 2 types of Brussels sprouts, one for now or coming up to Christmas, and then I've got another few which then will take me through to next March, April time. The runner beans that you can see I plant in June, or actually it was the end of July, because growing season for runner beans is usually planting in May, and that sees you through the summer. But I always plant a few in the end of July, so that I've got runner beans now. And in fact, if you can't actually see them because I did pick some yesterday, but right down the bottom are still some runner beans which I'll pick before I go home today. So that's all that I've got growing for the winter. But also thinking ahead, I've got things for now for next spring and for summer. So I've planted already my overwintering onions. They are designed to grow during the winter, and I've also got garlic, which does need to go in about November because they like a bit of frost to them, and it really fattens them up in the spring growing. It's mentioned about growing things in dustbins and it does look a bit strange on a plot that, you know, when you're growing vegetables, but the whole site has got badgers here, so we grow lots of vegetables in dustbins or containers off the ground so that they actually have a chance of growing without being eaten. I learnt to my cost that I was growing one year some carrots and they were just about ready, and the badger got them all. I'd really put loads and loads of chicken wire around. I'd taken it down about a foot in the soil. Doesn't stop a badger. So I grow my carrots in 2 dustbins. One I grow regular carrots in, and the other carrots I normally grow are the purple ones and the yellow and white, a whole mixture, because I do like experimenting, and I think that's the real key when you're growing things, is to experiment. Grow things that you like, but have 1 or 2 things that you've never grown before, because it's important that you experiment, because sometimes you actually find that you like them.
Marion, can I ask you a few questions, please? So if we're going to grow our carrots in the dustbins, and we've got our dustbin and we haven't got anywhere where we can actually dig our own soil from, how do we go about that? What should we do?
Well, Squires or any garden centre sell bags of topsoil. What I've done here is half filled the dustbin full of polystyrene and lots of bulky stuff, so that actually only half is full of soil. So I put a membrane above the polystyrene, and then I buy a bag of soil from a garden centre and just fill it up. The soil that's in this dustbin, one of our neighbours was laying a new lawn and had all this soil left over, so that's where it's ended up by me decanting it into sacks and bringing it up here. But you can find soil, you know, in lots of places, but mainly from garden centres.
And thank you, Marion. And what about the drainage? So I would immediately think, not being an expert or anywhere near, how then do we, when we're watering, how often would we water, and how is the drainage going to take place?
I normally come probably about 2 or 3 times a week just to water. The dustbins have got holes in the bottom, so that obviously any water I put in then drains away, otherwise it will go sour, and that wouldn't be good for the plants that you're growing in a dustbin. I've talked about growing carrots in dustbins, but you can actually grow an awful lot of any vegetables. At home I've got in troughs, I've got peppers, I've got lettuces, and the same thing for here. You can grow anything with a long root or even top growth. Spinach, any vegetable actually can grow in there, and I've even grown at home a squash that I've trailed over a garden chair, coming from a pot filled with soil.
Thank you. So we can all get going with that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
This time of year, as you can see, it's pretty windy, it's starting to get cold, and I now start to think about what I'm going to grow next year. For anybody who's just starting out, the 3 things that I would definitely grow are runner beans, which you can plant in May, tomato plants, which you can either buy or you start sowing seeds in February. And the other thing that I would buy is some form of spinach. Now you can either buy the chard or you can buy ordinary spinach, but they grow most of the year, and you can start a few, pick a few, sow some more, and it's something that you can grow all the time.